Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back to The Voice Within. Okay, so last week we have been talking about love and self-betrayal. This week we're going to go into empathy and responsibility. Why? Because once we understand love doesn't mean I need to betray myself for you, the next confusion we have is this. If I understand them, if I have empathy for them, then I am responsible for how they feel. So we're going to talk today about that middle point between empathy and responsibility. And that middle point would be, I can understand you without being responsible for your emotions. Empathy is beautiful. Being empathic is such an amazing thing. Unfortunately, so many people around the world are walking without a lot of empathy, and it tends to be very harmful and it tends to hurt us a lot, especially if we are empathic and sensitive and we feel it so deeply when the people are careless with how they treat us. Many people don't understand impact of their own behavior, and for empaths, this can be very, very hard on our nervous system. And this is why it is so important for empaths to learn this middle point to protect themselves. We often think that if I am empathic, if I have understanding for inner world of another person, that means I shouldn't have boundaries. If I have boundaries, then that means I'm rejecting emotions of another person. In this way, we often internalize the emotional world of other people. We take it to be our responsibility to manage and fix. So now it's not only that we have our emotions, we have emotions of other people to manage. This is something that so many women do, so many mothers do. We take emotions of other people on ourselves, let's say it like personally, and we start feeling them very deeply to fix them, to manage them, to make the people feel better so they don't feel emotions they feel. But empathy without boundaries is emotional labor. Let's imagine some small sensitive child who is shy. You're not going to push that child into the crowd and tell them you are responsible for the crowd. If the child is sensitive, you're going to protect that child and expose them to the world slowly. So if you imagine yourself like a child who is very, very sensitive, you have to be responsible towards yourself and your emotional world and protect yourself from emotions of other people. You can understand them, you can cherish them, you can give advice if they're asking for, but at the same time, you have to learn that middle point to don't take responsibility for the emotions of other people. If we only have responsibility without empathy, then we become very motoric. Then we become like, okay, I'm responsible, I'm protecting myself, but we don't have that human touch in that responsibility. When we put empathy and responsibility together in that middle point, we create mature love. Not love which says, I give you endlessly, I sacrifice myself for you, I understand you, I'm empathic, I take your emotions personally, but love which is mature, the love which is with dignity. And I believe that we often confuse empathy. We think that empathy means if I can put myself into your shoes, that means that I can also feel emotions that you are feeling. Empathy simply means I can resonate with what you are feeling. I can understand it. I can see why this is hurting you so deeply, but whatever you're feeling is still not my responsibility to fix. Empaths often jump into that responsibility to fix the world, especially if we are self-aware women. We think that, okay, I feel so deeply, I understand so much, so that means that I'm responsible to fix everything and everybody. This is where we start over-functioning, and this is where even resentment comes, because we take the role which shouldn't be ours in the first place. Mature love is, I can see what is happening inside of you. I can understand why is this happening. I can resonate with it, but I don't have to jump and fix emotions for you, especially if we're talking about motherhood. This is such a valuable lesson for our children, to learn to tolerate their own emotions, to learn to sit in them, to learn to stretch their capacity to discomfort. If we jump and fix their emotions immediately, they never develop that muscle. Then they become adults who cannot regulate anger, who don't know how to sit with sadness, who don't know how to build courage, who don't have spine. So this is the playground for our children, where we can see what is happening inside of them. We know how does it feel. We can give them guidance. We can help them to go through it. But only thing which we can do in that moment is to be supportive. We cannot fix every single emotion of our children, because in that way we rip them off from possibility to learn the things themselves. And also understanding why somebody is behaving the way they behave doesn't mean that you need to fix their behavior. I always keep repeating, only person you have control over is yourself. What other people do, what they choose to do, how they choose to live their life, you have zero control over that. You can understand them, you can see their patterns, you can be aware, you can observe, you can give advice if they ask you, but on the end, only responsibility you have is responsibility to yourself. You use that knowledge, awareness, pattern reading, or whatsoever to improve yourself instead of putting responsibility on yourself for how other people live their life and what kind of emotions they have. This is the place where you stop emotional overfunctioning, emotional overgiving. This is the place where you start learning your capacity to give. Because trying to fix somebody's emotion, it leaves the mark on our nervous system. Maybe we sometimes don't feel it immediately, but we often internalize emotions of other people. If we don't give proper advice or we don't help them in the right way, then sometimes even people get angry for not helping them. Sometimes they get entitled to our help. So we have to be very, very careful when we are empathic to protect our capacity to give, understand, and sympathize with the people. You most probably had those situations where, for example, your child is not okay that day, it's moody, hungry, tired. You pick them up from school and you can feel that, oh my God, the tantrum is coming. As soon as they see you, of course, they feel safe, you are their safe person, and they start dumping on you all the emotions that they've been holding whole day. And then you can feel inside of yourself, I have to become calm, I have to regulate this, I have to understand my child. Maybe it's tired, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, let me help it, let me kiss it. You feel how your nervous system is working to regulate the field. And this is the part of motherhood, because our children are regulating through us. Our touch, our attention, our kiss, our ability to understand, our attunement with them is what is regulating them, because they cannot regulate themselves because they are children. However, pay attention on your life and you will see that in many situations in your life, you have most probably the same scenario with adult people. Somebody feels tense, tired, something is happening in their life, and you feel like they are trying to provoke you or they're trying to pull you into some emotional battle to discharge emotions on you. Now, because you are empathic, you understand what is happening inside of them. You try to regulate the field. You try to calm the situation because you just understand. So you take it like your own responsibility to fix adult person. This is exactly that place where we overfunction. We have to learn where is our responsibility. We can understand the people. We can sit, we can talk. However, when something starts to reach our limits, our capacity, we need to be able to draw the line and protect our nervous system. And you protect your nervous system by not becoming responsible for the emotions of other people, even when you understand them deeply. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed. Until the next week, I wish you a beautiful rest of the day. Bye.